Hi, I'm Mary Foley, business coach for women entrepreneurs and founder of the Rev Up Society. Recently, I launched something completely new called Live Like Your Nail Color. Not exactly coaching for women entrepreneurs. You can check it out at livelikeyournailcolor.com. But I got to thinking about the Great Resignation. We've all heard of it, and it has a lot to do with those who are leaving corporate America or leaving their jobs and changing to a new one, or just saying, what do I really want in life now? And for entrepreneurs and small business owners, the vast majority of us, it's more like the great rethinking. What works now in our business? What is really happening with our clients and our customers? What about that supply chain? What about the things that I need to do differently again in order to be in business, stay in business? And do I really want all of this? So I thought I might share with you a few of the things that I learned in the process of doing and putting together and launching Live Like Your Nail Color, because it might help you too. It's kind of a little bit of riffing on a few ideas that really came to the fore, and I hope you find it helpful. The first idea is that if you get an idea or a nudge for something new, explore it. For me, that came in July of 2020. I had a conversation with someone and I thought, I really need to consider bringing back in a new way, Live Like Your Nail Color. You see, in 2010, I wrote a book called Live Like Your Nail Color, Even If You Have Naked Nails. And I did a lot of speaking around it, had a lot of fun around it. And I even had my own nail color, polish. And I interviewed gals on how we can live like that nail color. And it was popular, kind of until it wasn't, so to speak, because by the time the recession and the impact of that from 2008 had taken full effect, it really wasn't the message that women needed at the time. Instead, they needed more about how are they going to survive in their career and also in their mindset and their businesses. And that's what led me to coaching women entrepreneurs. But in July of 2020, unexpectedly, I got a big nudge and I decided to explore it. Now, it feels like forever since it took me to explore it. But here's the thing is I remembered, and I love this book called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. And he's got three overall ideas if you want to be essentialist. Like essentialist is somebody who like does what really matters, less of it, but better, and what really matters to them. And it's a lot about what's your biggest impact and contribution that you can make. And so he's got these three big concepts: explore, then eliminate, and execute. So actually, an essentialist spends a lot of time up front exploring a new idea or something that they're considering and changing either direction or just something additive. Because here's the thing, the idea of you explore, you got to really think about it. And this is what I did with Live Like Your Nail Color. What really is it now? Why do I want to do it? Why does it make more sense now than 10 years ago, 5 years ago? Why is it important to me personally? And how would I implement it? How would it look differently than last time? Or how would it, just how would it show up now in the world? Which gets really quickly to also about what does success look like? What does success look like intrinsically? Like, why would I want to do it from a personal satisfaction point of view? Something that's going to also give me mojo, because frankly, I know if I don't have mojo around it, well, I'm not going to be able to persevere when it gets kind of tough, because we know that as an entrepreneur and a small business owner, there are always dips and valleys and ups and downs. And we know that even more of the last couple of years. So what does the intrinsic success look like for me? What does it look like for you? What does the financial success look like that makes it worth doing? And I recently saw a video of a gal who started a small business out of her own particular hobby, and it grew, and she got a retail space, and all of that happened, and it looked really sexy, but reality was, she said, is that she wasn't making a profit. She was having cash flow, but then she had so many expenses that she really wasn't having a net result financially that made it worth it. And she went to this long explanation as to but that's the core reason why, as she was also doing online business to ditch the retail in a physical brick and mortar and only do online. And it gave her all the things that she needed, both in what success looked like profit wise, but also in the kind of workplace she can create, and also the kind of flexibility that she can have in her life. So what success looks like with this new idea that you may be considering and exploring is so important, because it's not just the short-term fun, it's the long-term results that matter. And it really begs the question, particularly now, is what kind of life do you want as an entrepreneur and a small business owner? There's no true right or wrong of that. There's only what works for you that is truly right and wrong. And some people might think you're nuts, which is a whole nother topic for another time, which I'm going to talk about. But at this point, it's about exploring that idea and exploring the nudge and not acting too fast. Because here's the other thing I found in the exploring was that other opportunities came up. Opportunities, some that I wasn't even looking for. It was like blindsided. Now, they were really good opportunities, by the way, and they were tempting. And I was like, should I do that instead? Okay, so what that did for me was, as I explored those other opportunities as well, is it helped me clarify what I wanted the most right now in my life and for my business. So when other opportunities come up, you could see it as distraction or, oh my gosh, maybe I should consider this too. I'd say, you know what? Consider it, but don't act. Just consider it and explore and ask those questions. What this really is, why would I even be, attracted to it? How would that implement and look in my life? What does success look like for me now and going forward? What do I really want in my life? Those questions can really helped me. And expect other ideas to come up, other opportunities to come up. And instead of seeing them as more confusion, say, wow, let me explore those too to help you clarify. There are 3 questions in his book that Essentialism that I thought are also really helpful. And when you're exploring, because you kind of have to sort through and like, well, I've got all these ideas, or I've got some, even now it can feel more confusing. Which ones do I make on the short list? I love what he says here, to tap into your brain's sophisticated search engine. And he said there's 3 questions that you can ask yourself. What do I feel deeply inspired by? Why? What am I particularly talented at? And what meets a significant need in the world? I'll say them again. What do I feel deeply inspired by? What am I particularly talented at? And what meets a significant need in the world? Answering those 3 questions, I am pretty sure you're going to also be able to come up with, should I continue to do this idea or not? See, I think that really the big thing isn't so much that you might be dissatisfied with what you're doing, or you're not as comfortable as you used to be, or confident that as an entrepreneur or as a small business owner, that this is the thing you should continue to do. That's fine. I think we all have doubts. And in this climate that we're in today, and in the changing circumstances, I think in some ways we'd have to have our head in the sand not to have some of those feelings, but to give ourselves permission to explore, suspending conclusion until you've given yourself enough time. That, I think, is what we can do in the big, great rethinking for our businesses. And to me, it felt like forever to give myself that time. I mean, really, it's like 18 months max. But, we've lived in a time where 18 months can feel like 5 years, and then it can feel like 5 minutes. It's got this weird thing about time. The reason I bring that up is simply that if you're like me, where you're impatient sometimes and you have a sense of urgency, well, use it to explore, but don't feel bad if you spend all that time and you come to the conclusion that, no, that's not the thing to do. I guarantee the exploration will still give you insights about what you're currently doing, and perhaps just help you to recommit to it in a brand new way. Because here's what essentialism, and I call myself an essentialist, is about. They spend as much time, he writes here, spend as much time exploring, listening, debating, questioning, and thinking, or a lot of time as possible. But their exploration is not an end in itself. The purpose of the exploration is to discern the vital few from the trivial many. One thing we've learned in the last several years is that, well, not everything is equally weighted as essential and meaningful in our lives. I just read this very short story about what Jack Nicholson did at some point years ago. Didn't even tell me exactly when, where, etc. So I'm just going to believe it to be true. That he walked into a bar and he saw someone he knew sitting at the bar. He didn't stop, but he slowed down and said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And the response was, the guy responded with lots of complaints. And he interrupted them and he said, "We're all going to die. Act accordingly." That could be morbid, but actually it's, to me, pretty funny and poignant. You know what? Life is short. Let's act accordingly. Hope this helps. And I'll riff with you another time. Thanks. Bye.